We are so excited to have Crawley Creative Confections here today with Larisa Crawley. Larisa, tell us about what you do and all the exciting things that you do every day, because I tell you, I'm so excited about you being here.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate being here. I'm excited too. So my name is Larisa Crawley. I'm the owner and artist of Crawley Creative Confections. We supply custom hand-iced sugar cookies and one-of-a-kind French macarons. We also offer, cake-wise, we offer a deep dish skillet-baked chocolate chip cookie cake that is so large it comes in a pizza box. So it's not super thin. It's one of those thick, juicy, like 2.5 inch, perfectly cooked.
It's amazing. Sorry you missed that yesterday, Christina.
I did, but
Yeah.
cookie cakes are some of my favorite. So even people have been doing cookie cakes for their wedding cake.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. And the thing that we're most proud of is how customizable everything can be. We can customize flavors, colors, themes. We can make sure that the shapes of your cookie cutters are exactly the way that you want them. We have our own printer. So you can have everything exactly the way that you want it, personalized just for you and no one else.
No, nothing more custom than that. Your
Well,
own
and
printer.
really, nowadays, a lot of people are giving cookies as favors at weddings. And I think that's a great idea because it's not something, it's something that you can take home and eat instead of putting it in a drawer somewhere. And I know yesterday you were telling us about, certain cookie cutters that you can create
Yeah.
for that bride or groom or even a baby shower or anything else. Talk about the printer and stuff that you've got, because I think that is amazing.
It is so cool. It's a 3D printer, and so it actually takes out extremely thin filament and it builds it on a base. So if you actually look at the cookie cutter, you can kind of see all the little tiny layers. The best thing is it's completely customizable. So I do a lot of graphic design for our company, other bakers, even other individuals. And the best part is that I can literally design a shape on my iPad and print it out in less than 3 hours. So it's amazing.
So when it comes to, if I come to you and said, okay, here me and my bride's getting married and just pulling this out of the air, our dog is our favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we give you a picture of the dog. You can outline that or...
Absolutely. We can hand ice it, or we can even do edible imaging, edible image printing, so that it can be a super crisp, photorealistic picture on the cookie itself. Really, we're full service when it comes to customizable treats.
And I think the key word there that we're honestly is it's completely different than what we've known from maybe other bakeries or other
This
companies.
is totally out of the box.
It is. And so I think the word customize on this level is absolutely anything you want.
Well, and the detail that you go into, not just your cookie cutters, but your cakes, or not your cakes, but your cookies itself.
Mm-hmm.
The detail on them are so amazing. You do a great job on that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's the best part. I've been an artist for over 15 years. I've always been interested in art. I've always had some artistic capability in any job that I've been at. And this is just taking art to an edible level. And it's absolutely rewarding in its own way, because as soon as you give cookies to anyone, and I get to see their face light up, it's amazing. It's a completely different sort of satisfaction than I get from...
Well, one thing too that I've noticed is, and I mean, I've had different cookies from different places, and they're decorated beautifully, but they're not always the most tasteful cookie. Your cookies even taste that they crumble bubbly,
Yes.
buttery in your mouth, and I mean, I love that, and I think that's amazing.
Well, so a couple of questions that I want to ask is, I always love to hear about how people work with other businesses too. And I heard that when you said your intro, that you work with other people to design things for them. And all our listeners are all over. And that's really interesting if you are in another state, you're in another country listening to us, and you want something customized, this is something that they could possibly reach out to you to accomplish.
Absolutely. When I first started being more interested in the bakery, we're still relatively new, but we've been cooking and eating delicious food forever. I'm a Kentucky native, so I don't know the meaning of just making 1 or 2 servings of something. It's gonna be 3 or 4 dozen, or enough to feed an army. But the thing that I wanted to create that meant the most to me was creating a community of local businesses so that we can refer to each other and support each other. So I like doing outreach to other local bakeries, and I like working with other bakers across the country. I've worked with people from California to New York. I've had people ask for me in Europe because they thought that there's apparently a Crawley bakery somewhere in England, and I was so sorry that I couldn't take her order. We almost got all the way through it.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is
because
amazing.
sometimes we have guests on here that they can only work in a specific area with whatever they offer. And so it's nice to hear if someone wants something customized like this for a favor, for a dessert to have at their wedding or event, because like you said, baby showers, all those different kind of things. Bridal showers, baby showers, bachelor parties. I'm sure the list goes on and on. That they don't have to conform to something that might be close to what they want, when you can go and get exactly what it is you're wanting. So it's awesome to hear about you working with other people. Now here's what I want to dive into. I would like to talk about some tips that you might have for people that don't know exactly what they want, don't know where to start, what kind of cookie, what kind of dessert item. Maybe they're not your traditional cake people, and they're out there. I mean, we've seen a lot of different things at weddings. What do you say to them to start? What do you say to them?
I absolutely love the design process. That's my favorite part, because as soon as somebody calls, I'm like, what are we doing?
What are you thinking?
What are we doing? And I get a fair amount of clients that are like, I really don't know. It's just, I'm just having a bridal shower in a couple of weeks and I'm not really sure what I want. So what I tell people is to go look at decorations that you have already purchased for your event, to maybe get a color palette. Look at your invitation to see if there's maybe a cute phrase or wording that is on that. If you don't have either one of those, totally fine. Check out Pinterest, check out Etsy, even just do a Google image search and just add cookie or macaron to the end of it, just so that you can see what else or what other people have done. And then kind of pick a few and let's talk about it. Let's make it something completely unique to you, but that still has elements of other pieces in it. A service that I do offer to my clients is offering a draft of a completely custom design so that they can see it, they can see the color palette, they can see what it looks like before we actually make the cookie. So that works out wonderful for people that really need to have that visual in front of them.
That's awesome.
And there are people out there that really need that overseeing it on the computer.
Well, something that Sharon and I have been seeing over the last few months is, I don't really want to say that people are not doing cakes anymore, but we're seeing more creative things. And a couple of months ago, we did a wedding that had and I want to say this 2 different ways because I learned this from you yesterday.
Yes.
They had a macaroon tire. And it was beautiful and it was great because the bride didn't like cake. But I pronounced that wrong, right? It's
correct.
Macaron.
Macaron. Like macaron.
But there is a macaron and there are also macaroons.
Correct.
As we learned.
Yes.
So tell us the difference between those 2.
I'm so proud of you. You did a great job saying both of those. Don't do it again now, but go ahead.
Okay, so macarons are the super cute miniature sandwich cookies made out of meringue and almond flour with some type of delicious filling on the inside.
Delicious goodness on the inside is what I just heard.
Exactly. And the best part about the macaron cookies itself is that they're gluten-free from our bakery, because we have to use almond flour. Most bakers use almond flour for their macarons, so it's a great gluten-free keto option for a lot of people. Now, I won't say that the fillings are always gluten-free, and they're definitely not sugar-free if you're getting them from us.
You mean they're not keto friendly?
No.
But the outside is, but the inside is not.
We'll leave it up to you if you want to avoid the center. I love the honesty.
Yes. So then you've got, so that's the French macaron, the sandwich cookie, usually brightly colored. We can even do shapes. But the macaroons, which most people call macarons, they're used a lot interchangeably, but the macaroon is actually a shortbread coconut cookie. So we've thought about really confusing people and offering a macaron, but more on that to come.
Wow. Wow.
I wanted to mention that because she talked briefly about that yesterday, and I thought it was the same thing.
I think we're going to find a lot of listeners didn't even know there was a difference. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and marketing wise, if you look up macaron or macaroon in Louisville, Kentucky, you will find me as the second search option.
That is awesome. And you know, there is a lot of people doing macarons.
Yes.
I'm going to say it right. I'm hesitating. But the towers, they're doing beautiful displays. We are seeing that a lot. And I think the other thing too is people are doing different flavors. Like it's not a tower of all the same flavor.
Absolutely not. The best thing is having multiple flavors. And another wonderful thing about doing a macaron tower is you can almost use it as your centerpiece. So not only are you using it for desserts around the table, but you can have it to where you can put a flower arrangement at the top or around the bottom, or lights to make it its own edible centerpiece, which is incredible.
Awesome.
Yes.
So talking to our brides, I know, when we talk about cakes, you're usually looking 6 to 8 months, 12 months. What about when it comes to cookies and that kind of thing? Do you have a limit on what when they should reach out to you?
Well, what do you recommend for people, even if it's you or someone else? Like, because if you're talking about custom design, I think that's a whole different thing that people need to consider from a time standpoint.
Absolutely. Myself, I prefer to have as much heads up notice as I can. And we have plans so that you're not having to pay all up front, that you pay a deposit to reserve and confirm your date. I've got people already booked for 2023, and then I just took an order this morning for this weekend. It really depends. I try to be as flexible as possible, because we do have people that, I've got a lot of people that their bakers have gotten COVID, and then they can't get their food from them. So they have, they're at the last minute, they're trying to find something. But I generally, if you're looking for decorative macarons, if you're looking for a large event, I would say a good 2 months notice would be fabulous. But if it's less than that, I'm always happy to check my calendar and try to work with anybody trying to get something special for their event.
For your industry as a whole, would you say, if somebody was trying to do custom stuff, would you say to really allow 60 to 90 days?
Yes. Myself, I'm able to turn it around pretty quickly because I have all of the equipment to do so. So I have the printer, I have I can make my own cookie cutters, all of that. But as a general rule of thumb, 60 to 90 days would be a really good spot to start.
Especially if you have a popular date, or as we all know in the wedding industry, everybody's talked about dates going quickly. If you know for sure that this is a route you want to take with some kind of custom cookie item like that, I'm sure the longer out, like you just mentioned, you already have ones for 2023, does not hurt.
No, absolutely not. You can always, the more notice I have is always the better. But I know that some people have last minute things come up, or you have a couple that's going to go elope on the weekend, and they still want something sweet.
Well, I feel like that's in today's society. It's like everybody waits till the last minute to do everything. And, especially with my business, it's like they call me today and they need it delivered in 2 hours. Now, I know it's a little different for you for that. You cannot do that. But I do have a question. When it comes to, say I've got 200 guests, And I've never, I know when we do cakes and that type of thing, they say, yes, you need a 3-tier cake for 200 people. How many, if I wanted to do a macaron tower or macaron tower, how do you consider how many to get?
Sure.
If I've got 200 people, do they eat 4? Do they eat 5? Do they eat 1?
Well, our macarons are extremely rich. We have a lot of filling in the middle of ours. That's something that distinguishes us from other macarons. So I would say at the max, you're going to be thinking 3 per person. So it's still very budget friendly because most people will want to eat them while they're there. If you're talking sugar cookies, you can, if you're doing full-size sugar cookies, which are about 3.5 to 4.5 inches in diameter approximately, you're really still going to see about 1 per person there. But we do offer miniature cookies that are closer to like 2 inches to 2.5 inches. If you were looking at something like that, I would say a safe bet would be 2 per person.
That's a really good question, Mike. Well, and I've also seen I've seen at events, people doing different types of desserts. Where we were at an event where they had a chocolate fountain, they had
cookies,
macaroons.
They had macaroons. They also had even a pie table.
Ooh.
I mean, and sometimes it's an overkill, but I mean, you see all types now. Sitting down with brides every day now, and I hate to say this because I love cake. I absolutely love cake, and I love the icing on it. But a lot of people will come out and say,
You like all the things about it.
I know, I do. I mean, but I have so many brides saying, we're not doing cake. We're doing this, or we're doing that, or we're doing, even a chocolate fountain. They'll substitute the chocolate fountain for the cake.
Oh, yeah.
But that's, the bride and groom's decision. But, I mean, I think everybody that goes to a wedding wants something sweet.
Well, the other thing,
sure.
Not to interrupt you, the other thing, Mike, though, we've even talked about this and seen where the couple still want to cut a cake and they've had a smaller cake, but then they've had macaroons, or I've even seen where they've done the little mini pies or something like that, where they still want to do that traditional item of cut the cake, but they've went with something that is meaningful or something that they enjoy as a couple as part of their desserts. And I think that's interesting to see people kind of evolve with that. I feel like you used to see some of that with groom's cakes. Back in the day, you would see them go with the groom. That might be one of the things of maybe just a few that the groom got to decide on, whether it be the flavor he wanted or the design he wanted. I could say that may or may not have been the situation. But honestly, like, Josh loves cookies and cream, but I didn't want that as our cake.
Right.
So we did the groom's cake was, of course, done in IU, of course. But a lot of people really liked that. But we also incorporated a couple others. And I think the thing now is do what you want. What you makes you happy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And if it's, I love a challenge. That is my favorite. I will be excited no matter what you say that your theme is. I'm all about it. We've done Nightmare Before Christmas. We've done Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Care Bears, sunflowers, traditional and non-traditional. I love it. I just absolutely love it. And I love when things mean something to the bride or groom. That's something that's really super personal.
What are you seeing real popular right now?
Oh my gosh.
Good question, Mike.
Sunflowers and bees. I see that like at least once a week. I've got somebody that's wanting a set for a baby shower or bridal shower. They're doing brides to be. It's super cute. It's really fun. I think it's coming into summer, so they kind of think about those things.
When you said that yesterday, I've even got a whole section for spring in my store of
That
bees and sunflowers.
Yellow,
because usually I don't bring in the sunflowers until summer to fall, but I'm featuring that for spring this year.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know why that is so popular, but hey, it is a trend, and
it totally is.
You just got to go with it.
And I think that's more of the traditional trend, and the non-traditional trend never lands anywhere. Like, it's always something extremely different, and that's the challenge that I love.
There's been people doing more too with gaming type
Oh, yes.
weddings, like that's maybe how they met, or that's something that they enjoy. And I have seen on Pinterest, I mean, my goodness, you name it, with gaming, consoles, controllers, actual games. That's now, whether that was used at their actual wedding or whatever kind of party, it's amazing how that has really come about.
Absolutely. And, pop culture really shows itself in cookies, because people want to find something that's extremely personal to them, that maybe other places aren't carrying, like
Friends.
Friends. Party Central doesn't have, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air baby shower stuff. That they're wanting to do that, but they're having to go about it in a very different way. And cookies are a great way to do that.
So when it comes to the macarons, what's the most popular flavor?
I'm kind of thinking he loves those. You've heard him mention it a couple times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't blame him.
No, not at all.
I would say that it would be a tie between our strawberry cheesecake that's made with real cream cheese and freeze-dried strawberries, and cake batter. Everybody loves like the birthday cake batter. It's a great option for people that don't want to have a traditional cake, but still want the cake flavor.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
Okay. I thought I saw a little something.
It's a little something.
A little something dribbling down. I'm not sure. We'll have to check the video on that.
When it comes to your cookies, though, your sugar cookies,
Yes.
Is there other flavors besides just the sugar cookie that you decorate?
Absolutely. The best part about sugar cookies or macarons is that we really can customize them to be any flavor that you choose. We've done like lemon, we've done a coffee extract, we've done all different types of things. My husband, Josh, is actually the baker for us. So he comes up with all sorts of ideas from who knows where and loves to, he'll just be in the kitchen and he'll have extra buttercream and he's like, I'm going to try to do this. He's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We have like probably over 40 flavors that we offer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So when it comes to, I know you mentioned this about your logo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thinking about, promoting with a cookie with my logo on it. So is that done with a sugar or a certain kind of icing, or is that a printable?
Both. I've done them both ways. So it's really popular for realtors to give like a housewarming gift to their clients. And so we've done like welcome mats and front doors and sold signs and things, little sets like that for realty. We've done, a big thing, a lot of people do like using the edible image for their logo, especially if it's extremely precise. That's another thing. And then this week, I'm working with a client that wanted their macarons to be in their business colors so that they could they wanted the macarons. So we were able to do that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then from a branding standpoint, not only are you giving somebody something that's delicious, they're going to talk about it. They're probably going to post about it on social media. There is more to it for a business. And honestly, the sky's the limit with how you utilize that in your business, whether it's a celebration that you have going on or an open house or just because. And Mike, this isn't nothing you're used to this stuff all the time, because we're talking about different types of things, like when people would send flowers or gifts. And today, it is amazing how many different things there's out there, not only for businesses, but also for couples to really embrace what they want.
Absolutely. And to make everything a special occasion. It doesn't have to be your wedding day for it to be something fun to use. We've had brides that wanted to bring cookies with them, so if they said yes to the dress, that they could surprise their bridesmaids.
So yeah, I think that's awesome. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it can be completely personal in that way. And to go back to using it as a branding tool, I mean, you're going to open a lot of doors by just having cookies. So
Are you sure?
I'm
Yeah,
100%
absolutely.
sure.
Oh, I can come in and talk to you because I have a dozen cookies. Yes, come on down. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about getting through the gatekeeper. You just give them a cookie and they'll let you right on.
What did you want? Did you want a list? You want to phone? Oh, you want to meet with them now? You're in.
Yes, absolutely.
But Mike, I think too, one of the things that she just mentioned about utilizing, like to invite people to be part of your wedding party. You may have already done this, but I'm sure gender reveal, but also a pregnancy announcement. You know, there's so many different opportunities there. If we had all the time in the world, we could just sit and go through. You could use cookies for.
Yes.
But gosh, and Pinterest is a wonderful tool to be able to go out and search different things that people have done. And it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily use the exact same thing that you see there. It is to give you inspiration to start your own wheels turning for maybe how you would utilize or how you would change that to be your own.
Absolutely. And as an artist, it's difficult to explain to clients sometimes that inspiration pictures are really just that. They are inspiration. So we might be able to match a color scheme to your liking, but things can sometimes be just a tad different, a tint different. If they're hand iced, I'm literally the only person that is decorating that, and I'm having to completely do that by hand. So not all of your cookies are going to look identical. They're going to look similar, but they're not going to be identical. For those people that are wanting something that's truly identical from one cookie to the next, that's where your edible image comes in.
Absolutely.
Well, from one artist to another in a totally different way.
Yes.
You know, I used to hate Pinterest, and I've said this many times on this
You
podcast.
have.
But I mean, I love it now. You know, they come in and they show me these pictures, and no, it's not going to be exactly. It's going to be, just like you said, it's an inspiration that gives me an idea of what you like.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think that I love Pinterest now.
Oh, yeah. Pinterest and Etsy are my two things that I go and look at the absolute most.
But I've got to say, you have got a talent. If I come in and I order 8 dozen cookies or 12 dozen cookies, and every one of those are by hand.
Yes.
Your hands.
They're insured.
I can't even imagine.
I was going to say.
I cannot even imagine what you have to do to do that over
Absolutely.
and over and over.
Well, and because I have so many different techniques that I've picked up as being an artist over the years, I've even done watercolor on cookies before, and that's truly hand painted on there. Which those
Don't
turn
get
out,
any ideas, Mike, now.
They are beautiful. They turn out amazing. And if you're talking about something you really want an art piece, that would be what I would recommend, because it shocks everyone. And then they are like, "Can I eat this?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's edible." I wouldn't put anything on a cookie that wasn't able to be eaten.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were here.
The possibilities are endless.
And delicious.
There you go.
Delicious is the word.
Absolutely. Well, we could talk about this for quite a while, but I think the thing that I'm excited about people walking away from this episode with is, even with cookies are no longer just cookies. And you can utilize them in your business, in your personal, for parties, for any occasion, or for all occasions.
Or for no occasion.
Or for no occasion, just because.
Just
Make
because.
someone smile today.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And the possibilities to utilize this in any part of your wedding, whatever type of celebration, rehearsal dinner, we didn't even mention that. There are ways to incorporate it, but I think the biggest thing that I learned today was how customizable this can really get. That has been very surprising to learn about the printer and all of that stuff. And that I think it's incredible. You know, we're all about community and community over competition. And to hear you say about working with other bakeries, other artists, I think that is such an important message.
Very important.
To get out.
Oh, absolutely. And to go back to weddings and how customizable we can get, With our macarons, we can actually create a flavor for you. A lot of brides are wanting to do still custom cocktails, but there may be people that are unable to indulge in alcohol, and we can create a non-alcoholic version of your cocktail that still allows you to be luxurious, but doesn't contain any alcohol at all, so that everyone can celebrate with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Incredible. This has been great information. Thank you so much for being willing to come and share. If you want to connect with Larisa, did I say it right?
You sure did.
Okay, I've
So
tried
proud.
very hard. You will have all of her contact information in the show notes. Make sure to go and follow her on social media. And as always, we would love to hear your feedback. How are you utilizing, if you're having cookies, what are you doing in your parties or your events or your wedding? We would love to hear from you. And also you can always send us pictures through social media, and we would love to share them out. Mike, this has been great.
It's been awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to sample.
Oh yes, so we have to wrap this up.
Yes.
Shout out to our other co-host Sharon, who could not be with us today, but she is here in spirit, and we may
save you
save
one
a
of those.
sample for her. So until next time, everyone, take care.